In the streets and skyline of Chicago, four young signal bearers and their powerful code spirits rise to defend the digital and human worlds from the corrupted entity Null Sovereign, battling to prove that light, truth, and hope can overcome the darkest signals of the network.
Chicago Code, Digital Covenant. A B.J. Mayfield original fictional audio series inspired by imagination, technology, and the city of Chicago. Official creator's statement of inspiration and imagination. Imagination is one of the great gifts given to humanity by our Creator. From the earliest stories told around fires to modern tales told through books, art, and technology, storytelling has always been a way for people to explore ideas about courage, truth, friendship, struggle, and redemption. This fictional series was created through that spirit of imagination and creative inspiration. Growing up in Chicago, surrounded by towering buildings, busy streets, glowing lights, and endless technology moving through the air in invisible signals, it is easy to imagine that another world could exist hidden within the systems we use every day. Phones, computers, servers, satellites, and digital networks connect billions of people across the earth. The idea that something unseen might live within those connections sparks curiosity and creativity. Like many people who grew up watching imaginative animated adventures, the concept of human beings forming bonds with mysterious creatures in another realm left a lasting impression. This series does not copy any story but instead uses the inspiration of partnership between humans and otherworldly beings to create something entirely new and original. This story is set in the author's born city, Chicago, a place known for resilience, diversity, struggle, innovation, and hope. The streets, neighborhoods, and skyline of Chicago serve as the living backdrop for a fictional world where technology and imagination intersect. At the same time, this work acknowledges a deeper truth found in Scripture. The Bible reminds us that wisdom, creativity, and understanding ultimately come from God. As written in James chapter 1 verse 17, every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights. Imagination itself can be used to explore moral lessons about courage, humility, truth, and redemption. This story is not presented as theological doctrine, prophecy, or spiritual revelation. It is a work of fictional storytelling meant for entertainment, reflection, and creative exploration. However, the values reflected within the characters, such as choosing truth over deception, protecting others, standing against corruption, and believing that redemption is possible, echo timeless principles found throughout Scripture. As spoken in John chapter 3 verse 16, God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. In that spirit, this series celebrates imagination while honoring the belief that light, truth, and hope will always stand stronger than darkness and deception. Official Series Introduction. The city of Chicago never truly sleeps. Beneath the towering skyline, millions of lights glow through the night. Cars move through endless streets, trains rumble through elevated tracks, and signals travel silently through the air from towers, satellites, and servers hidden throughout the city. Every message sent, every photo shared, every video streamed, every search made on the internet creates a ripple of energy in the digital world. Most people believe those signals simply disappear into invisible networks. But what if they do not? What if those signals gather somewhere? What if thoughts, emotions, ideas, and human choices leave behind fragments inside the digital systems we created? Deep within those networks exists a hidden dimension known only to a few. The code realm. In this strange digital world, beings made from living data slowly formed over time. Some were shaped by creativity, courage, kindness, and curiosity. Others were formed from anger, deception, greed, and corruption. They are known as code spirits. Most humans will never see them. But occasionally, a signal finds someone whose heart is searching for truth. And when that happens, the boundary between the human world and the code realm begins to open. In Chicago, that moment is about to arrive. Episode 1. Signals in the Storm. Thunder rolled across the sky above Lake Michigan as dark storm clouds gathered over the city. Rain began to fall across the streets of Chicago, reflecting the glowing lights of traffic signals and storefront windows. People hurried along sidewalks with umbrellas, buses roared through puddles, and trains rattled along the elevated tracks. To most people it was just another stormy night in the Windy City. But high above the skyline near Willis Tower, something strange flickered inside the storm clouds. A burst of digital energy rippled through the sky like a glitch in reality. Invisible to human eyes, streams of data began colliding with the electrical storm. Billions of signals bounced between cell towers, satellites, and wireless networks. Inside those signals something awakened. Across the city, phones flickered. Computers froze. Screens flashed strange symbols that no one understood. At a quiet bus stop on the south side of Chicago, B.J. Mayfield sat alone under the shelter roof, watching rain run down the streets. He had lived in the city his whole life. The sounds of sirens, trains, traffic, and thunder felt normal to him. In his hand he held his phone, scrolling through messages while waiting for the bus. Suddenly the screen froze. The signal bars changed into unfamiliar glowing symbols. Lines of strange digital code appeared, forming shapes that moved across the screen like living letters. B.J. frowned. What in the world? He muttered quietly. The phone vibrated violently in his hand. A bright flash burst from the screen. B.J. dropped the phone onto the wet pavement. Instead of breaking, the light expanded outward, forming a small glowing creature made of floating pixels and streams of golden code. It slowly stood up. Rain passed through its shimmering body like mist through sunlight. The creature looked up at BJ with bright, intelligent eyes. BJ stared in disbelief. The creature spoke in a calm voice that sounded like hundreds of digital signals layered together. Signal connection confirmed. BJ blinked. Did you just talk? The creature nodded. You are BJ Mayfield of Chicago. BJ stepped back, looking around the empty street. No cameras, no prank show, no hidden projectors. So either I lost my mind tonight or you are real. The creature tilted its head. I am real. It stepped closer, glowing softly in the rain. I am Logian, a code spirit from the code realm. Lightning flashed across the skyline. Far above the city, a dark distortion spread through the storm clouds, twisting the digital signals moving through the air. Logian looked toward the sky. The corruption has arrived sooner than expected. BJ followed its gaze. What corruption? Logian turned back to him. In the code realm, beings exist that were formed from the darkest signals humanity has ever created. Sirens echoed in the distance as thunder shook the city again. Logian continued speaking quietly. They are beginning to enter your world. BJ laughed nervously. So let me understand this. Digital monsters are invading Chicago and somehow I am involved. Logian nodded. Yes. BJ rubbed his forehead. Why me? Logian looked directly into his eyes. Because your signal was different. BJ crossed his arms. Different how? Logian replied calmly. Even after everything you have seen in life, you still search for truth. The creature paused before speaking again. As written in scripture, the light shines in darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it, as recorded in John chapter 1 verse 5. Lightning illuminated the skyline again. Somewhere above the clouds a massive shadow moved through the digital storm. Logian looked up with concern. The first corrupted entity has entered the network above Chicago. BJ sighed slowly. Well then, he said quietly. I guess this night just got a lot more interesting. Above them, the storm intensified. And the battle for the hidden digital world surrounding Chicago had officially begun. Chicago Code. Digital Covenant. Episode 2. The Shadow in the Network. The storm that rolled across Chicago the night before had passed, but something strange remained in the air. Morning sunlight reflected across the waters of Lake Michigan, casting golden light across the skyline. The city appeared normal to millions of people beginning their day. Cars moved through traffic, trains roared along the elevated tracks, and pedestrians filled the sidewalks. But deep inside the digital networks flowing through the city, the signals were changing. Lines of corrupted data pulsed through hidden systems beneath Willis Tower, spreading slowly like a sickness through the network. Inside that dark digital current, something ancient watched. Something intelligent. And something hungry. Morning after the storm. B.J. Mayfield sat on a park bench near Millennium Park, staring down at the glowing creature sitting beside him. Logian's golden body shimmered softly as streams of digital light flowed through its mane. B.J. rubbed his temples. So let me understand this again, he said quietly. You came from a hidden digital world called the Code Realm. Corrupted creatures are entering Chicago through the network, and somehow I am supposed to help stop them. Logian nodded calmly. That summary is accurate. BJ looked around the park. Joggers ran past them. Tourists took photos. No one reacted to the glowing lion sitting beside him. They really cannot see you, BJ said. No, Logian replied. Only those whose signals resonate with the code realm can perceive us. BJ leaned back against the bench. And how many people like that exist in Chicago? Logian's eyes glowed faintly. More than you might expect. The other signals. Across the city, 3 other strange events were happening at the same time. On the west side, a teenage girl named Marisol Rivera sat inside a public library trying to finish homework when every computer in the building suddenly flickered. Lines of glowing blue symbols appeared across the screens. From the largest monitor emerged a sleek bird shaped from streams of wind-like data. It landed on the desk beside her. I am Eris, a code spirit, the bird said softly. Marisol stared in shock. You have got to be kidding me. On the south side basketball courts, a tall teenager named Darius Cole dribbled a ball when the scoreboard above the court exploded with glowing red pixels. A powerful digital creature shaped like a glowing bull stepped down from the scoreboard. Its voice thundered like distant engines. I am Fortune, guardian of strength. Darius blinked slowly. Okay. Either I am dreaming, or this city just got a lot weirder. Near the lakefront bike path, a quiet tech-loving kid named Ethan Park watched his tablet glitch repeatedly. A small floating creature shaped like a hovering cube with glowing eyes appeared above the screen. I am Cypher, a code spirit of knowledge. Ethan pushed his glasses up. Interesting. He smiled. I knew something strange was happening in the network. The gathering. Later that afternoon, all four signals converged near the massive silver sculpture known as Cloud Gate in Millennium Park. BJ stood with Logian when three other teenagers approached, each accompanied by a glowing digital creature. They all stared at each other. Darius pointed. So you see them too. Marisol nodded slowly. Apparently we all do. Ethan studied Logian carefully. Your code spirit has a unique energy signature. Logian stepped forward. Correct. The creature looked at each of them. You have all been chosen as signal bearers. BJ crossed his arms. And what exactly does that mean? Logian's voice grew serious. It means the code realm has recognized something within each of you. Marisol asked quietly, recognized what? Logian replied. The capacity to stand against corruption. The shadow appears. Suddenly every phone, tablet, billboard, and digital screen across Millennium Park flickered. The sky darkened slightly. A massive distortion appeared above the skyline near Willis Tower. From the swirling storm of data emerged a towering shadow made of corrupted code. Its body shifted constantly, forming twisted shapes from broken signals and fragments of dark energy. Two burning red eyes opened within the storm. The ground trembled slightly as its voice echoed through every digital speaker in the city. I am Null Sovereign. The code spirits immediately stepped forward defensively. Logian growled softly. The corruption leader. The shadow continued speaking. Humanity created the network. Its voice echoed through the city. But you filled it with lies, hatred, greed, and deception. The red eyes burned brighter. And from those signals, I was born. Darius clenched his fists. So you are basically a digital villain. The entity laughed. I am the evolution of your world's darkest signals. Lightning cracked through the digital sky. Null Sovereign spoke again. And now the human world will be rewritten. The distortion expanded across the clouds. Behind the dark entity, smaller corrupted creatures began emerging from the digital storm. Logian's mane flared with golden light. The invasion has begun. BJ stepped forward beside him. Then I guess we start fighting back. Logian looked at him. Remember the truth written long ago. Its voice carried quiet strength. The light shines in darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it, as written in John chapter 1 verse 5. The other code spirits glowed brightly beside their partners. Across Millennium Park, four signal bearers stood together for the first time. Above them, the digital storm spread across the skyline of Chicago. And the battle for the code realm had officially begun. Chicago Code. Digital Covenant. Episode 3. Awakening the First Evolution. Night returned to Chicago with a strange tension moving through the air. The lights of the skyline shimmered across the waters of Lake Michigan, but the digital networks flowing through the city were no longer calm. Data signals flickered with instability, phones glitched randomly, and electronic billboards flashed strange symbols before resetting. Above the city, swirling clouds of corrupted code gathered around the top of Willis Tower. Hidden within the storm floated the dark entity known as Null Sovereign. Its burning red eyes scanned the city like a predator studying prey. Far below, in Millennium Park, 4 young signal bearers stood together for the first time. B.J. Mayfield, Marisol Rivera, Darius Cole, and Ethan Park. Beside them stood their code spirits, glowing softly against the darkness. Logian, Eris, Forgin, Cypher. The wind picked up as digital fragments flickered across the sky like falling sparks. Logian stepped forward, its golden mane shimmering. The corruption is spreading faster than expected. Ethan adjusted his glasses while studying his tablet. I am tracking abnormal signal patterns across the entire network. The distortion is spreading through communication towers, satellites, and city servers. Marisol looked up at the swirling sky. Meaning what exactly? Cypher hovered beside Ethan, its cube-like body rotating slowly. It means Null Sovereign is attempting to rewrite the digital structure of Chicago. Darius crossed his arms. So basically he wants to take over the city's technology. Forgin lowered its head, its glowing horns crackling with red energy. And if that happens, every digital system in the city could fall under corruption. BJ looked up at the storm. Then we stop him before that happens. Suddenly a deafening roar echoed through the clouds. The swirling distortion opened like a portal in the sky. From within the storm, several monstrous creatures made from corrupted code descended toward the park. Their bodies flickered with broken signals and jagged lines of dark data. Their eyes glowed with the same crimson light as Null Sovereign. Logian stepped forward. Corrupt sentinels. Marisol swallowed nervously. So this is happening for real. One of the corrupted creatures lunged forward, slamming into the ground with a burst of digital sparks. Darius cracked his knuckles. All right then. Forgin charged forward with him. Let's go. The battle erupted instantly. Forgin rammed the corrupted creature with massive force, knocking it backward across the pavement. Eris soared into the air beside Marisol, releasing sharp gusts of slicing wind made from digital energy. Cypher projected streams of glowing code that disrupted the enemy signals. Logian leapt forward beside BJ, slashing through a creature with a flash of golden light. But the corrupted monsters kept coming. Each time one fell, another crawled out of the storm above the skyline. Ethan's tablet flashed warnings. There are too many of them. BJ looked around at his friends. They were fighting hard, but the enemies kept regenerating. Logian stepped beside him. The first stage of evolution may be required. BJ blinked. Evolution. Logian nodded. Our forms can transform when the bond between human and code spirit grows strong enough. BJ glanced toward the others. So how do we do that? Logian looked directly into his eyes. Trust the connection. High above the city, Null Sovereign watched silently. Its voice echoed through the storm. Feudal resistance. The corrupted army surged forward again. BJ stepped forward, gripping his glowing phone tightly. We are not running. Logian's body began glowing brighter. BJ spoke firmly. We stand together. A surge of golden light erupted from BJ's device. Logian roared as its body expanded into a larger, more powerful form. Streams of radiant code reshaped its body into a powerful armored lion with blazing digital wings. Logian had evolved. Sentinel Logian. The transformation sent a shockwave of light across the battlefield. Marisol stared in amazement. Did that just happen? Eris circled above her. It can happen for us as well. Marisol closed her eyes briefly, taking a deep breath. I trust you. Blue light erupted around her. Eris transformed into a larger, majestic eagle made of streaming wind code. Storm Eris. Darius grinned. Oh, we are definitely doing that. Forjin roared as red energy surged around him, transforming into a towering armored bull covered in glowing circuitry. Iron Forjin. Ethan smiled calmly. Cipher expanded into a complex floating structure of spinning cubes and luminous data streams. Prime Cipher. The battlefield erupted with power. Sentinel Logian charged forward, unleashing a massive beam of golden light that shattered several corrupted creatures at once. Storm Eris unleashed a cyclone of digital wind that scattered enemies across the park. Iron Forjin slammed the ground with unstoppable force. Prime Cipher disrupted the corrupted signals, causing several monsters to collapse instantly. High above the skyline, Null Sovereign watched carefully. For the first time, the dark entity paused. Its red eyes narrowed. Interesting. The storm of corrupted code began gathering more intensely. Null Sovereign spoke again. If this is the strength of your light. The clouds twisted violently above the skyline. Then I will simply evolve the darkness. Lightning cracked across the sky. And the next wave of corruption began forming inside the storm. Below, the four signal bearers stood ready beside their evolved partners. The battle for Chicago had only just begun. And the true power of the Code realm was starting to awaken. Chicago Code. Digital Covenant. Episode 4. The corruption evolves. Night settled deeply over Chicago as the battle in Millennium Park continued to shake the digital foundations of the city. The glowing lights of downtown flickered across the skyline while streams of corrupted data twisted through the air like dark lightning. Citizens walking nearby could only feel the strange electricity in the atmosphere, unaware of the hidden war unfolding around them. Above the towering height of Willis Tower, the massive storm of corrupted signals pulsed like a living creature. Inside the digital clouds floated Null Sovereign, the dark entity born from the worst signals humanity had ever released into the network. Its burning red eyes watched the battlefield below with growing curiosity. Human resolve, the entity whispered through the storm. Unexpected. Below, the four signal bearers stood beside their newly evolved partners. Sentinel Logian. Storm Eris. Iron Forjin. Prime Cipher. The energy radiating from their evolutions lit the park like a second sunrise. Darius laughed with excitement. Now this is what I am talking about. Iron Forjin slammed its massive hooves into the pavement, sending a shockwave through the ground. Nearby corrupted creatures were thrown backward like broken data fragments. Marisol pointed toward the sky. They are not stopping. Indeed, more twisted digital creatures continued emerging from the storm above the skyline. Prime Cipher's rotating cubes flashed rapidly as it analyzed the situation. The corrupted army is adapting to our energy patterns. Ethan frowned. Meaning they are learning. Cypher responded calmly. Correct. BJ stepped forward beside Sentinel Logian. Then we stay ahead of them. Sentinel Logian's wings expanded, glowing brighter with golden code. The corruption is being strengthened by Null Sovereign's presence. BJ looked toward the towering storm above the skyline. So if we stop him, the others weaken. Logian nodded. That is the most probable outcome. Suddenly the storm clouds twisted violently. A deep rumbling voice echoed across the sky. Signal bearers. The voice of Null Sovereign vibrated through every nearby electronic device. Phones flickered. Streetlights dimmed. Digital billboards flashed with corrupted symbols. You believe your evolution gives you victory. The storm opened like a massive digital gateway. From within the clouds descended a new creature. It was larger than the previous monsters. Its body resembled a massive serpent made from fragmented code and burning red data streams. Its jagged digital scales flickered constantly as if reality itself struggled to contain it. Logian's eyes narrowed. A corrupted commander. Null Sovereign's voice echoed again. Behold, my creation. The monstrous serpent slammed into the ground with devastating force. Cracks spread through the pavement. Its voice hissed through broken data signals. I am Ruined Serpent. Marisol stepped back slightly. That thing is huge. Storm Eris circled above the battlefield, wind swirling around its wings. Powerful corruption detected. Darius stepped forward with a confident grin. Good. Iron Fortune lowered its head. I was getting bored. The ruined serpent lunged suddenly. Its massive digital body slammed into Iron Fortune, knocking the armored bull backward across the park. The ground shattered under the impact. Darius staggered. Okay, maybe not bored. Storm Eris dove from the sky, releasing slicing currents of digital wind. The attack struck the serpent but only slowed it slightly. The corrupted creature roared, unleashing a blast of dark energy that scattered everyone across the battlefield. Prime Cipher projected defensive code shields around Ethan. The enemy's corruption density is extremely high. BJ helped Marisol back to her feet. Then we fight smarter. Sentinel Logian stepped forward, golden energy blazing from its mane. The lion spread its wings and roared toward the storm above. Its voice carried a deep strength. Truth is stronger than corruption. BJ spoke quietly beside him. The light shines in darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it, as written in John chapter 1 verse 5. Sentinel Logian launched into the air. Golden code erupted around the battlefield. Storm Eris joined the attack from above while Iron Fortune charged from the ground. Prime Cipher flooded the area with stabilizing signal patterns, weakening the corrupted serpent structure. Together, the four evolved code spirits unleashed their attacks. The ruined serpent writhed under the combined assault. Finally, Sentinel Logian unleashed a massive beam of radiant light directly through the creature's core. The serpent shattered into fragments of corrupted data that dissolved into the air. Silence returned to the park. The signal bearers caught their breath. For a moment, the battlefield was calm. But high above the skyline, Null Sovereign watched quietly. The dark entity spoke softly within the storm. So the light learns to fight. The storm of corrupted code began growing even larger. Across the digital network of Chicago, new distortions appeared. Traffic systems glitched. Power grids flickered. Satellites drifted slightly off signal. The entity's voice echoed once more. Then the darkness will grow stronger. Below in the park, Logian looked toward the sky with concern. The corruption is spreading beyond the battlefield. Ethan studied his tablet as warning alerts flashed. It is moving through the entire city network. BJ clenched his fists. Then we are not just defending one park anymore. Logian nodded slowly. No. The lion's golden eyes reflected the glowing skyline of Chicago. We are defending the entire city. Far above them, the storm surrounding Willis Tower expanded across the night sky. And within the swirling darkness, Null Sovereign began preparing the next stage of the digital war. Chicago Code, Digital Covenant. Episode 5. Divided Signals. The night sky above Chicago no longer looked normal. What had once been scattered clouds now formed a massive swirling storm of digital distortion stretching across the skyline. Invisible streams of corrupted code flowed through the city's networks, moving through cell towers, satellites, and underground data cables. High above the glowing lights near Willis Tower, the dark entity known as Null Sovereign floated within the storm like a king seated upon a throne of broken signals. Its red eyes glowed brighter than before. You resist the corruption, the entity whispered across the network. But you are not the only ones chosen. Below in Millennium Park, BJ Mayfield and the other signal bearers studied the growing digital chaos surrounding the city. Sentinel Logian stood beside BJ, its golden wings folded but glowing softly. Storm Eris circled quietly overhead. Iron Forgin pawed the ground like a restless guardian. Prime Cipher hovered beside Ethan, its rotating cubes projecting streams of data analysis. Ethan frowned at his tablet. This does not make sense. Marisol looked over his shoulder. What is it? Ethan tapped the screen several times. The Code Realm's signal patterns are increasing across the city. Darius shrugged. I thought that meant more enemies. Cypher's glowing eyes flickered. Correction. The cube rotated slowly. It means more signal bearers. Everyone froze. BJ blinked. Wait. You mean there are others like us? Logian nodded slowly. Yes. The Code Realm does not choose lightly. Many humans possess unique signal resonance. Marisol looked around the skyline. So where are they? Before Logian could answer, the air above Millennium Park rippled like a digital wave. One by one, glowing portals opened around the park. From those portals stepped several teenagers and young adults, each accompanied by a code spirit of their own. But something about them felt different. Their code spirits glowed with darker colors. Deep crimson, purple, shadowed blue. The energy around them felt unstable. Darius stepped forward cautiously. So you guys are signal bearers too. One of the newcomers, a tall young man wearing a dark hoodie, stepped forward. His code spirit resembled a jagged wolf made from black code fragments. His eyes glowed faintly red. We are. He folded his arms. But we are not here to help you. The wind shifted across the park. Storm Eris landed beside Marisol. Their signals are corrupted. Prime Cipher confirmed the analysis. Their connection to the Code Realm has been altered. BJ stepped forward carefully. Altered by who? The hooded young man smiled slightly. By the one who understands the truth. Above the skyline, the storm pulsed. Null Sovereign's voice echoed through the city again. I showed them what humanity truly is. The dark signal bearer raised his hand toward the sky. We have seen the network. His voice grew intense. The lies, the hate, the corruption humans spread through every signal. Behind him the other dark signal bearers nodded. Null Sovereign continued speaking through the storm. These humans accepted reality. They chose evolution. BJ shook his head slowly. No. They chose deception. The hooded young man narrowed his eyes. You still believe humanity deserves saving? BJ spoke firmly. Yes. Darius stepped beside him. So do we. Marisol looked toward the dark signal bearers with concern. You guys do not have to follow him. Storm Eris lifted its wings. The code realm gives each bearer freedom. Ethan adjusted his glasses calmly. You are being manipulated. Prime Cipher projected data patterns into the air. Null Sovereign feeds on the negative signals humans create. BJ spoke again, his voice steady. Yes, humanity has darkness. But it also has courage. And mercy. And truth. Logian stepped forward, golden light glowing brighter. The light shines in darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it, as written in John chapter 1 verse 5. For a moment, silence filled the park. Some of the dark signal bearers hesitated slightly. Their code spirits flickered uncertainly. But the hooded leader shook his head. You still do not understand. He raised his hand. His corrupted wolf code spirit howled as it evolved into a larger armored form made of jagged dark code. Null Sovereign will cleanse the network. And we will help him. The other corrupted signal bearers stepped forward as their code spirits transformed into twisted evolved forms. Darius cracked his neck. So it looks like talking did not work. Marisol sighed. I was really hoping it would. BJ looked at the opposing signal bearers with determination. We are still not giving up on them. Sentinel Logian spread its glowing wings. Even corrupted signals can be restored. High above the skyline, Null Sovereign watched the confrontation unfold. The storm intensified around Willis Tower. Its voice whispered through the digital winds. Let the chosen decide their future. Below in Millennium Park, two groups of signal bearers now stood facing each other. Not humans against monsters, but humans against humans. Both believing they were fighting for the future of the world. And the next battle would decide whether corruption or redemption would spread across Chicago's high-voltage digital sky. Chicago Code. Digital Covenant. Episode 6. The Battle for the Signal. The wind swept through Millennium Park as tension filled the night air. The lights of Chicago reflected across the pavement, but something deeper moved beneath the city's normal rhythm. Invisible digital currents twisted through the atmosphere, forming waves of unstable code that rippled through nearby devices. Streetlights flickered. Phones vibrated unexpectedly. Digital billboards glitched with strange symbols before resetting. High above the skyline near Willis Tower, the storm of corrupted signals pulsed like a dark heartbeat. Within that storm, Null Sovereign watched silently. The entity's red eyes glowed brighter as it observed the confrontation unfolding below. Two groups of signal bearers now stood facing one another. BJ Mayfield stepped forward slowly beside Sentinel Logian, whose golden mane radiated calm but powerful energy. Across from them stood the hooded leader of the corrupted signal bearers, his jagged wolf code spirit pacing beside him like a restless predator. Behind him, Several other signal bearers stood with dark evolved code spirits that flickered with unstable crimson light. Marisol stepped beside BJ, Storm Eris circling protectively above her. Last chance, she said firmly. You do not have to follow Null Sovereign. The hooded leader shook his head slowly. You still believe this city can be saved. He gestured toward the skyline. You ever read the comment sections of the internet? Darius sighed loudly. Okay, that is a fair point. But BJ did not smile. He looked directly at the other signal bearers. Humanity has darkness. But it also has hope. Ethan stepped forward with Prime Cipher hovering beside him. The Code Realm did not choose us to destroy humanity. It chose us to protect the balance. Prime Cipher projected streams of data across the air. The network contains billions of signals. Some corrupt, some truthful. Erasing humanity would erase both. For a brief moment, uncertainty flickered in the eyes of one of the opposing signal bearers. A younger girl stepped slightly forward beside a shadowy feline code spirit. What if Null Sovereign is right? She asked quietly. What if corruption always wins? Sentinel Logian stepped forward gently. Its golden eyes glowed with quiet wisdom. The light shines in darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it, as written in John chapter 1 verse 5. Storm Eris landed beside Marisol. Every signal has a choice. Iron Forgin stomped the ground beside Darius. And we are choosing to fight for the good ones. But the hooded leader raised his hand suddenly. The hesitation ended. His wolf code spirit roared as dark energy surged around it. You still do not understand. Null Sovereign is not destroying the network. He is purifying it. The wolf creature expanded further into a towering armored form made from jagged corrupted code. Attack. The battle erupted instantly. Dark code spirits surged forward across the park, clashing with the glowing defenders of the code realm. Iron Forgin charged headfirst into a massive corrupted bear-like creature, their impact shaking the pavement. Storm Eris launched into the sky, releasing spiraling winds of digital energy that scattered several shadowy attackers. Prime Cipher flooded the battlefield with stabilizing signal waves, disrupting the corrupted code patterns. Sentinel Logian leapt forward with blazing golden wings, clashing directly with the corrupted wolf. Their energy blasts collided in midair like thunder. The park filled with flashing lights and crashing waves of digital power. Above the battlefield, the sky began shifting violently. Null Sovereign extended its massive digital form across the storm clouds. Excellent, the entity whispered. The conflict accelerates evolution. Its corrupted voice echoed across the entire city network. Let the strongest signals remain. Back on the battlefield, BJ struggled to hold his ground as the corrupted wolf pressed harder. Sentinel Logian roared as the two creatures clashed again. BJ shouted toward the hooded signal bearer. You do not have to do this. The hooded leader shouted back. You are the one who does not understand. You are fighting to protect a broken world. BJ shook his head. No. I am fighting to give it the chance to be better. Their code spirits clashed again in a massive explosion of light and darkness. Nearby, the young girl who had hesitated earlier watched the battle with uncertainty. Her shadow feline code spirit flickered strangely. The corrupted signal surrounding it wavered. Storm Eris noticed immediately. Her signal is unstable. Marisol stepped forward. She is still fighting inside. Above them, the storm surrounding Willis Tower expanded again, spreading across the skyline like an approaching digital eclipse. Null Sovereign's massive voice echoed once more. The next stage approaches. Across Chicago, thousands of digital devices began glowing simultaneously. Phones, computers, traffic signals, satellites. The entire network was beginning to awaken. Below in Millennium Park, the signal bearers realized something terrifying. This battle was no longer just about them. The entire city's signal was about to be pulled into the war. And the next evolution of the code realm was about to begin. To be continued.